Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Day 9.
And I'm Mr. Bitter, and we have a game that wasn't on the schedule initially that we're going to be bringing you guys.
That is correct. Everything is amazing because we are going into game 1 of a best-of-3 between Sjow and DBS, a best-of-3 that wasn't even going to occur. We're going to sneak that Terran versus Terran in. As you know, TVTs are nice, short, compact, small little games. We're just going to gently set that right before Sase Adele Scott.
And it's gonna work.
So it looks like both players are in the game and ready to go. It's going to be a Terran versus Terran on Antigua Shipyard. I know the crowd is quite familiar with Sjow, but I don't think many are familiar with DBS. Can you tell us a little bit about his style?
Sure, I can tell you a little bit about DBS. He's a German Terran player, part of the Type 2 team, same as Phoenix, who we saw play earlier, and he's got another teammate who was here in Dreamhack called Real. And, you know, DBS has a bit of a reputation on the Europe server for being maybe a little cheesy.
A cheeser, yes.
Maybe a little cheesy. I don't want to sound like I'm being critical of that because it's certainly very viable to have hyper-aggressive play styles.
Well, there's something endearing about a person who's always willing to build 2 racks on any map, in any position, any time, any place. And it looks like in the right position, the man who's from Sweden, in a crowd that's in Sweden. It's Sjow.
Shjow's opponent down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, the yellow Terran player from Germany, DBS. Now, Sean, I'm a little bit curious. Does this version of Antigua force cross spawn?
I do believe that is one of the new features that has been added to Antigua Shipyard. A lot of players, I mean, one of the most notable ones is no gold in the center, but especially the cross positions help remove any sort of weird positional imbalance problems that can occur. For instance, if you had, you know, a Protoss player spawning in the bottom and a Zerg spawning in the bottom left, when the Zerg takes this position, a Stargate can easily waltz 1 foot with a Void Ray to kill off the expansion. There's not much that can go on that the Zerg can do about that. And it looks like DBS, interestingly, is doing the reverse cheese. He's going to go for the command center before anything. Or he's saving up to build 4 barracks all at once.
He's got a reputation for the cheese. That doesn't mean that he's incapable or afraid of playing macro games. He is a good player, certainly. I'm eager to see what he brings here against Sjow, a guy who maybe hasn't been making the most waves in recent months.
Yeah, Sjow is a really interesting player historically. He is one of the few players who really just trusts himself and nothing else. He does the most insane build orders at the start, these weird Hellion-based compositions long before anyone else did. He was actually one of the pioneers of Hellion Viking, did it almost a full year before Team Slayers popularized it. Yeah. So he's a real innovator, really gets how his race is supposed to work. However, his macro slips all the time. All the time. I guarantee at least a couple times in the casted series for Sjow, you will see his money climb up in a battle, and when the battle is done, he will build a seemingly random assortment of factories and barracks and expansion command centers. It makes his timings very sort of off as a result, and I think that if he fleshed that out, he would be an extremely potent player.
Certainly. DBS rather. That's Sjow.
Oh my God, Sjow's bunker rushing.
Yeah, throwing down a bunker at the front there, and I wonder if he's really committing to this or if he's just trying to get DBS to pull a few units off of mining just to be annoying.
Ooh, DBS doesn't have the command center done yet. Now it's finally done, so that first Marine can actually begin. Sjow's actually trying to dedicate to getting this bunker up. We see that the Marine is started, is heading down through the center of the map. A second Marine is done. Expand up for Sjow. The bunker at the front looks like it is still being constructed, and now he finally might end up picking off that one SCV, and he does. DBS has defended this early bunker pressure.
Sure, yeah, he has defended. Now, I'm always curious about this, the way it maths out. DBS had pulled 3 SCVs, and they're basically off mining the whole time as a couple of Marines make their way up into the natural here. But DBS has a 3rd Marine out, so Sjow will have to turn around. So is the mining time lost? Does that offset the cost of that bunker and SCV?
I mean, in general, because you can start pairing off the You start pairing off the workers and say, oh yeah, well he does have 1 to 2 SCVs dedicated to this bunker rush. If I pull like 2 to 3 SCVs off, it'll eventually be okay. The fact of the matter is you at least have a little bit of extra information. Like, yeah, my opponent is sending 2 to 3 Marines in a constant rally. I know a couple of other things that he can't be doing. Having 100 minerals tied up in Show's spot suddenly means that you can't have a fast factory also en route in quite the same way. So we do see Sjow going for the double Hellion play, is getting his expand up, and we see that starport being planted as well. This is the Sjow special, just getting out a lot of Hellions really fast.
Yeah, could very, very possibly be going for some sort of elevator play well. That's just one of the things you can do it. He could also be going up to Banshees, as Banshee is it's a great unit that's very common in TVT.
Does look like Sjow did get the orbital command up at his expansion, but it got scanned, and the double Hellion is completely and totally revealed. I do think Sjow will begin doing some pushing action, but if DBS is watchful, he can actually knock down both of these Hellions right before they get vision at the center watchtower.
Yes, indeed. These Hellions for Sjow are just kind of parked. Looks like he wants to wait until he has 4. And DBS is going to push forward with only 2 Marines here. So these 2 Marines are going to probably, maybe, no, they're not. Yes, they will in fact spot these Hellions, and here we go. DBS running forward with quite a lot of Hellions, but Sjow backing up before he takes any damage at all. So both these guys sort of feeling out the other and getting a good idea for what's happening on their respective sides of the map.
It looks like DBS wanted to do some kind of push action. He actually brought 2 SCVs there to the front to try to do a little bit of damage. But once he saw those Hellions, backed right on off. But oh no, I think that SCV did manage to spot the medevac. So suddenly Show's plans to do some sort of elevator plan will likely be anticipated. But I would not be surprised if DBS or if Sjow just attacked the front of DBS.
Sjow has added a tech lab to that starport, so he could be following this up with some Banshees. I don't really know what else that would be for. The Marines are loaded up into that medevac, and where is it going? He's going to bring it all the way around to the back side. Oh, I see what's going on here. He's going to set up a little multi-prong harass action.
But with all the bunkers set up from DBS, this one medevac, I don't think we'll be able to do too much damage. It looks like DBS has plenty of Marine Marauder in the back of his own base. There it is, the drop now starting up. And look at that, DBS, almost instant reaction time, takes virtually no damage on the mini-map. We also see
Hellions are going to run forward and actually going to go right into the natural mineral line. Oh, got to be really careful about these SCVs, DBS, and they do actually get away without taking too much damage. I don't think DBS has lost a single worker yet. Now he's going to lose a few.
I really did not like that play by Sjow. He just committed 6 Hellions and did almost no damage.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't even get that much good information, just saw a couple of Marines and Marauders there, and now DBS is just going into mass Marine medevac mode, and I don't know what Sjow can really do, as it looks like Show's kind of trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling his play either, Day 9. He's got the single factory with the tech lab on it and a tank popping out. He's got a second factory with a tech lab going up in his natural, and the rest is all barracks. So it looks like he just wants to play Marine tank. He's got a tech lab on his starport, but he's producing medevacs with it. So a little curious about that move.
And again, in the midst of that attack, we see Sjow throwing down a couple more barracks back in the main. We see that drop has continued for Sjow. DBS not having the best position. I mean, this is always how Show's able to pull back in these games with these good tactical decisions. There's the stim, loads back up, pulls on out, and has managed to kill some SCVs.
Yeah.
Not too terrible.
He's killed 10 SCVs through the course of this game, and he's been doing some annoying harass around the map as at the same time working on this factory for DBS as well. But for the most part, I think DBS has done a good job of defending. The worker count says that Sjow is up by 4. Supplies are very, very similar. The one thing that worries me a bit is DBS is just now adding in his first factory. Where is that? Oh, he's going to land it over in land. So, the siege tank numbers are going to be vastly in favor of Sjow when these two guys finally fight with their main armies.
And I mean, that's not such a bad position to be in, to have way more Marines than your opponent, because you can engage at a spot like right now before the siege tanks get there. But Sjow, despite having huge errors with his macro throughout all his tournament games, has amazing tactical decision making, constantly being aggressive, good drop control, and here it looks like a push is beginning, and DBS has been in defensive footing for so long that he was underprepared for this kind of attack.
I like this move here by Sjow. He's going to push forward. He's going to take out the add-ons on all these building barracks. Scan goes down for DBS just to see exactly what he's dealing with, and quite frankly, I don't know that that's an army he really wants to attack into. And he's bringing out a lot of Marine and Marauder. The siege tanks are going to help out quite a bit, but Sjow with his Marines not supporting the tanks is going to lose all those siege tanks.
And it looks like, though, that Sjow did manage to pierce into the main with just 8 Marines, more than enough to do huge damage to that worker line, and DBS is in a retreat mode. Manages to pick off 1 medevac, but God, Sjow is so aggressive at times like these. Amazing amount of confidence being displayed by the Swede, just building more barracks, rallying factories, taking a 3rd expansion. DBS looks like his opening is a little bit more refined, but that just cannot seem to overcome the decision-making from Sjow.
Yeah, it seems like Sjow's just getting a little bit ahead in each of these exchanges. Sjow did lose an army with a couple of tanks in it, but the supplies right now are still in his favor. He's up at 102 supply block for a long time, as you've already pointed out, Day9. His macro perhaps slipping up just a little bit there. DBS down at 80 supply. And we are going to have another bit of an engagement here. Marines stimming and running forward. Siege tanks going up into siege mode. And once again, it looks like Sjow's going to get the better of that exchange.
I'm so surprised to see Sjow ahead in the upgrade battle, now at 2-1 upgrades getting started, whereas we see 0-0 for DBS, who is the marining player. Sjow continuing to drop up on this high ground, and I don't think that there's going to be that much DBS can do about it as long as Sjow maintains the pressure.
Yep, more add-ons are going to be killed. Sjow has been relentless in his destruction of add-ons in DBS's base. Oh, look at this siege tank getting pushed all around the place. Siege mode not quite done yet for DBS, so his tanks are really ineffective. There's a nice stem by Sjow as he runs forward and picks off that tank.
I mean, Sjow is doing very, very gentle forward stepping once he's at the front of the base. But before that moment, he is just rallying everything outside of DBS's base. And just having these 3 Marines up on the high ground means that suddenly only a few Marines at a time can be produced by DBS. So there it is. He's rearranging those barracks, but look at the tank count for Sjow, up to 7 outside the front.
I cannot believe Sjow is just reinforcing right to the front of DBS's bases. His tank numbers are climbing very, very high, as you've already stated. I just feel like he's got a hard contain on DBS. The one thing that I would like to see Sjow do here is stem a couple Marines and run them over to the 3rd base, and finally that's exactly what he does. 4 Marines going to run over. Oh, so many SE. Oh, wow, DBS going to respond by bringing out his entire army, which may be a slight overreaction, but at the same time, it's battering Sjow back a little bit.
And there is another engagement where Sjow does manage to get those siege tanks up into position. Has tanks just so well positioned, and oh no, the 3rd base. Sjow is unleashing a huge volley of Marine fire on that Expo, and with these tanks positioned up in mid, there is almost nothing that DBS can do about it. Even trying to move up the high ground is a huge risk, and there's the good game. Sjow takes a very clean win. With some extreme tank aggression. I mean, all the old macro slip-ups didn't really show their face too much in that